Hello and welcome to another endurance race with the McLaren MP4-X, but we're doing a few things different today. So there's a car counter which I have used in other videos, but this time, guys, it's never gonna stop. Not until I can't go any further. If you're like me, you've wondered, how many cars did I pass in an endurance race? And there's no way to know because there's nothing in the game that tells us. I really wish there was some kind of a counter. I don't expect that ever to exist. There's a lot of other things for them to work on. So this is going to be interesting. I've often done how many cars I've passed until the Perpetual Point, and if you've been around my channel, you know the answer is 42. That's what you need to do. That's why you've got to go as fast as possible in a lot of the races, because if you don't hit it fast enough, you just won't hit it. And you got to be clean. And that's the secret to this. By the way, while you're here, please subscribe and hit the bell, press the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get back to the action here. So there's really not a big secret to this anymore. It's 42 cars. You pass 42 cars, you'll reach the Perpetual Point. You need to do it as fast as possible because, as you know, if you just keep driving normally, well, you'll never hit it. And you do not want to take on any damage until after the Perpetual Point. With this particular race, you never want to take damage. This is the best endurance race in the entire game. Highest earning race there is. It's the Master Series race. It's really hard. There are harder races, but you know what? After I've been practicing this for enough years, maybe I'm a slow learner, but I'm now good enough at this race that I can keep going quite a while after maximum damage. I've actually gone over 500 kilometers after maximum damage, about 300 of that with maximum damage. But you got to be really clean because there's a few things. After you reach the Perpetual Point, you start to get cars closer and closer. Now, the faster your laps are back to back, the closer the bots will be. So that works the inverse order. Once you get maximum damage, you can't run your laps as fast and the cars start to space out a little bit, and then you really have very little room for error. You can't have any major mistakes. Okay, we're going to try something interesting right now. So before I have no damage, let's do a timed lap to see how fast are my laps taking these off-track cuts, but also having to navigate traffic. So we're going to do this twice. This first one's going to be when I've had no damage yet. Let's just see how fast I'm running. Then later in this video, we're going to do it again after I have maximum damage and we can see the difference. I think that's going to be interesting. Now look at the car. Oh, what did I do that for? That's really bad. I only do that when the bot, I guess, was perfectly in my way. I'm definitely going to lose some speed, like some time. What the heck am I doing a timed lap for right now? This is a really stupid idea. Okay, well, we're going to see. We're going to do this. I'll do it again. Because that cut, that's not going to represent my fastest lap. But you know what? It'll represent a reasonable average. And maybe that's what's more important. Because the rest of this lap should be pretty clean. But things happen in endurance races. It's not like a time trial. I mean, there's stuff in your way. So, yeah, we'll let this go. Sorry, it sounds kind of funny there. I'll let it go. I probably only gave up about maybe a second there, which is a lot, but on a Le Mans lap, maybe not that much. We're also going to get into braking points. At a certain point in this video, I'm going to go through the car costs, upgrade costs, series that you can earn the car through, and the costs to do that. So we're going to do an awful lot in this video. And I did do a teaser video that said, how many bots do you think I'm going to pass? And so, of course, we're going to get that too. This was a stinking load of work. Like, to do this counter through the entire race? That's a lot of work. It's a lot of editing. I guess you wouldn't expect much less from me. I try to put in a lot of effort into my videos, put high quality videos out, and do my best. And I like to do these really long ones once in a while. Like, I've done actually several of them, but what happens is they get buried. You know, a video gets a year or two old and most people won't find it. So I sometimes want to do a fresh one also so you can see how things are working in the game. I did this during update 10.4, but from what I can see, nothing's changed between 10.4 and 10.5. So even with that goofy cut, that's a pretty fast lap, 2:17.41. Like, that's pretty crazy. So later in the race, we'll see how much slower I am after I get maximum damage. So, as we can see, I'm about to hit the Perpetual Point. I have hit the Perpetual Point as early as the very end of lap 2. So that's possible. You definitely need to hit it in lap 3 or the very beginning of lap 4, or you will never hit it. It's just the way it works here. So even now, this is a little later than I'd like to hit it. So I'm going to get in a little bit of trouble here probably at the end of this lap. We'll see. That was a nice clean pass, I think. Huh. One more car, and then the Perpetual Point will be just beyond that. And I mean, my time's okay, but that's a little bit scary. So I'm driving very aggressively, but I gotta stay clean. Like, by aggressive, what I mean is kind of treating this more like, oh, that's not good. You're treating it more like a time trial. Which means no sliding and maximizing your braking points and all that crap that I just didn't do. Now I'm more nervous. Oh gosh. I'd really like to have like 65 seconds on the clock when I round this corner, and I'm like 20 seconds short. But the Perpetual Point's right there, and they're going to be pretty close together. I'll catch a gaggle of bots at the second 90-degree turn. So there's a 90-degree turn coming up. It's a very sharp turn, like I got to slow down quite a lot. And I might catch one there. Oh yeah, I'll catch him. That's great. Oh, I was on the brakes too late. Oh, nuts. This is not good for me. Oh, 40 seconds? Oh, that's great. If I had 35 seconds, I'd make it to the end of this lap with no trouble. Okay, so I can relax. Nothing to worry about here. The cuts, some of the cuts you've seen me taking, I'm going to stop taking now because I don't want to risk it. So the last chicane cut that I'm sometimes taking at full speed, I'll be slowing down for that. Unless I've got a nice clear track in front of me, then I'll blast it. But sometimes it's better to just make sure you stay in control. Like right now, I'll take this a little bit easy now. Now I'll kind of blast through the last one, but did you notice? Not going off track. And there's another cut I'll be skipping as well. So I always take this first big cut, and sometimes it's good to create a bit of a distance so you're not too close to hitting bots. There we go. And this is going to be focusing on braking points. So there was my one braking point there. No braking point here, of course. So I'm not doing freeze frames because I want to keep the action going. I got freeze frames, but they're going to pop up into the corner there so you can get a look. Coming up here, there's going to be 3 distance markers on your left-hand side. You want to be on the brakes just before the 3rd distance marker. You could brake as late as right at it, but I find it better to brake about a car length before it, and then you get into the throttle a little bit earlier. And on the right-hand side, I'm braking just before the 2nd braking marker after the end of... Oh, let's see what they are. On the right here, there's kind of fencing material. So I'm braking basically at that 100 mark, okay? Now, on your left, there's going to be an overhead banner, 3 distance markers, but really what I'm looking at in this car is on my right. There's a solid line that starts to appear very, very soon here, right there. I'm probably about that far back. I used to brake a lot later, but if you do that, you can power your way through that, out of that corner better. Now, that time I couldn't. But still, that's the reference point I'm using. And same with coming up here on the right, the 2nd slight corner, the curb gets a little bit extended, and that's my braking marker. So right before I get to it, you'll see what I'm talking about right there. Right before I'm getting to that curb. And then here, I'm not going to go off track. And I'm looking at the wall. Oh, sorry, I am going off track because I'm trying to give you my off-track cuts. So when the first wall ends on the right, that was my braking point, which you could see if you go back and take a look at that. Then, no braking point for a while. There's a little bit of a lift zone. Sometimes I brake for a bit coming up here, just coming up on this corner. Sometimes I lift for a bit, sometimes I brake for a bit. That's kind of a lift point though. Then you can get a pass here. And then this doesn't really matter. Just get on the brakes kind of early to control this area. A little bit of throttle, and then I'm just going to power through this. Sweet. 56 cars so far. Okay, so now let's look at costs, series, and special events. So purchase price is 1,200 gold. All R upgrades, about 6.8 million. All gold upgrades, 1,565 gold. That's actually not too bad for a car like this. But we don't necessarily have to pay that purchase price. So Cutting Edge is a great series this car appears in. There's some okay endurance races on that one, but if you want the really good endurance races, you got to get to the exclusive series. That's where this baby is. Tier 3 of the exclusive series. And nice pay in that exclusive series. Now, how can you earn this car? Back quite a few years ago now, 2016, there was an event called Formula Future. And I don't think there's ever been a flashback for it. Gosh, that would be nice, wouldn't it now? Just our upgrades, just over 1.1 million. It took me, I had to spend some gold, but there's several people who did it without spending any gold, just our upgrades. I wasn't good enough back then. I'd only been doing all no assist racing for like 2 or 3 months. So I'm really proud of what I did. Then there was the McLaren MP4-X Championship. Much more expensive upgrade-wise, but at least you're not having to do the purchase price. And the rewards were decent. So nothing wrong with that. This is a pretty high in-demand car, so hopefully they run them again. I'd love them to run Formula Future. You know what? How about everyone file a ticket and ask them to run Formula Future? You know, that might actually get some traction. That would be really good. Championship is fine too, but Formula Future, that'd be more fun. Anyways, see what you can do. It's been so long, I don't remember if there's any glitches. They don't like to run flashback events if they had glitches. I don't remember there being any glitches though. Like, I was barely doing any videos when that first ran, so I just don't have any from the original event. Anyhow, at this rate, the bots aren't that close yet, but you're going to see as I keep running faster and faster laps back to back, they'll get closer. So that means you can't have a lap where you really mess up, because they'll gap out a little bit 1 or 2 laps later. And I'm going slower because I'm slowing down for the chicane. But it's better to do that and stay in control. Like, that's lowering my frame per minute, but it's decreasing the chance of me getting maximum damage. Which, that's what makes this race extremely difficult, is once you get that maximum damage. Alright now, so here I brake a little bit early, and then I found if I can power through. I didn't do as good that time. I'll be careful with passing this guy here. Oh my, that's a massive mistake. That doesn't look like a big mistake. That's a very bad place to make that mistake. Because at that point, I want to pass one bot because I'm already down 10 seconds from a full timer. I'm not going to re-catch anyone until probably, I might catch someone on the drive out of the first chicane here. Let's see here. Yeah, no. Oh, gosh! That's horrible. Tagging a wall like that in this car, totally inconsequential. No damage at all. Won't matter. It's actually pretty crazy that it works that way, but it's almost like the higher speed you're going when you hit a wall, the less chance that you get damaged. It's really bizarre. But anyhow, the thing that hurts you in this game is bumping a bot with your front end. You can get maximum damage in just one hit. You can hit a bot with your sides, with the rear quarter panel, with really very little consequences. Now that cut I just took, oh gosh, I don't take that cut very often because it's risky, but my timer was getting way too low. Like, I'm 40 seconds short of where I want to be. 30. So I'm scared, to be honest. I'm scared. If I don't hit 100 kilometers, I don't accept it. I crash the race and do it again. So I don't accept that. It's not that much time invested at this point. Like, yeah, 13 minutes, but it's just not worth it for me. I just, that's my standard. I must do at least 100 kilometers or I don't accept it. And my new challenge is to get 100 kilometers with no damage. So that's what I've pushed to, because getting 100 kilometers for me has become easy in this car. Now my new goal is to stay focused. Like, my goal is 1,000 kilometers. But I usually start losing my concentration and I smash somebody. Now, you can see I'm doing a little bit more aggressive, but there we go. Now, that mistake wasn't too crazy, but let's get into some settings tips. Extremely important here. You know, you have to have all your assists off. There's just no other way you can do this race. With the off-track driving I'm doing and things like that, there's just no other way to do it. So that's the bare minimum. Like, just all of them need to be off. Just like you see here. And then I use sensitivity 0, not sensitivity 2. Fix that. Okay, there you go. And tilt B controls. I'm a big advocate of tilt B controls, but it's not the only answer. I know some amazing guys, better than me, that use tilt A, and I know some amazing guys that actually use steering wheel, I think it's called steering wheel B or something like that, wheel B. So there's lots of different control options. Certain ones like buttons controls, you're going to be always limited on how fast you can go with buttons. What I mean is when the steering is tapping the screen, because you're always having jerky input. So you're always going to be giving up some speed. But I know some guys who can do some endless endurance races that way, and they've accomplished a lot in the game. But that steering method is always you're always gonna suffer. But lots of answers out there, lots of things you can do. So there you go, guys. Those are my control settings. My normal setting is steering assist 2. Sorry, sensitivity 2. So that's why this screen was set on 2. I hope I haven't made that mistake in other videos. This car, though, this car I have to use sensitivity 0. Same with the Ferrari F14T, Ferrari 412T2, Lotus 125, McLaren MP4-X. I think that's it. And then there are most Aston Martins I use sensitivity 1, but the Valkyrie and the Valhalla I use 2, and everything else I use 2. And like 2019, 2020, 2021, 2020, yeah, those 3 years of Formula 1 cars, I use steering sensitivity 2. And there you go. For some reason, the cars are a lot more snappy, some of these older open-wheel cars, and that sensitivity 0 is necessary. Honestly, if I could, I would use like -1 or -2. I still find this a bit twitchy, but I make it work. And so there you go. It's amazing how far you can cut that very last chicane. Have you noticed that? Like there's 4 corners to it. The last 2 corners, it's surprising how much you can cut that, and it's not off track. You could do that during time trials and definitely shave a lot of time. A surprising amount. Like you can shave enough time from that last chicane to move up a group. Now look at this. It's very rare. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Nuts. It's pretty rare I'd get 2 bots there. So the bots are getting closer together. Now I don't like where he is. What's my speed looking like? Wondering if I got damaged. No, hitting 430, there's no way I have damage. So I might short brake a little bit. And nice power. Ooh, beautiful. Nice. You want to snag 2 there if you can. And then often at the next corner, I just get 1. Sometimes I get 2. This corner is always more difficult for me. Going left and then right is harder for me than going right and then left. I don't know why. It's just this corner took me, that chicane, the second Mulsanne chicane, took me years to feel comfortable at. That used to be my major weak spot. I just wouldn't overtake anyone there because I couldn't figure out how to do it. The secret for me now is to brake a little bit earlier than I normally would. Oh, I gave that to him. You see that? I'm worried. That corner, if you pass the bot headed to that corner, there's a chance that the bot is going to smash you. Because the new glitch in endurance races is that if you're passing a bot heading into a corner, he suddenly stops braking and just nails you. And it's annoying, but this is the best endurance races I've been for years, so I'm just not bothering to complain about it. Bots coming to a dead stop caused a lot of troubles for people, and there's just been a lot of different trouble with the bot programming ever since Formula 1 entered the game. They made some bot programming changes way back there in 2019, and it just kept on causing troubles. And it took a long time to get it to a reasonable level. So it's like, for me, this is like good enough. It's been enough years of trying to deal with it. Good enough. And oh, that's unusual for me. Good place for it to happen, though. I'd love to have a nice head of steam right here, but that's okay. And we're going to hit 100 cars here pretty quick. Could happen. I don't know. How tight is this? Ooh, that's close. I've lost a lot of endurance races there at the Dunlop bridge. Getting back on track, I'm too aggressive, I clip a bot, and then I crash into the Dunlop bridge, and there's no way to recover after that. There's just no way to catch up. Because you don't see anyone, a mistake that big, you don't see a bot until the end of the Mulsanne straight, which is just forget it. You're just too late. And I've had that happen multiple times. That's why I know that's a very sensitive spot. Sorry, that overtake had me worried, my 100th overtake, and had me pretty worried, but that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, this is a long video, so we might chat about a few other things, like I've actually been to this track. I was really excited to get there. Like, and of course, these are country roads, so the track is the Bugatti circuit, the smaller circuit. But I've been there. I was actually in France a few years ago, and we were driving. We weren't going to go to this track. We were going for other reasons. I was there with family members. Actually, interesting, 3 generations. So my mom and dad, and also 2 of my daughters were with me. It was really cool, actually. We got to go through France and Scotland and England, and got to see quite a lot. And I tell you what, guys, I learned a lot about driving. I was glad I had 2 trips. My first trip was to Oh, you see that? I knew he was going to do it. My first trip was to Scotland, and I've never driven sitting on the right-hand side of the car. In Canada, we drive on the left-hand side of the car, but we drive on the right-hand side of the street. So my first trip to Scotland, I was in a small Volkswagen, and nervous, so nervous. Roundabouts and all sorts of things I'm not used to. And my second trip, I was driving a 9-seater bus with cargo space on the same skinny streets, and sitting on the far right with the steering wheel there, driving on the left side of the road. But in France, it doesn't work that way. You get on a ferry, you got to put some stickers on your headlights so they're not blinding people, and you're suddenly driving on the other side of the road, sitting on the wrong side of the car, and the roundabouts are going all the other direction. So, wow. So I can drive anything, anywhere now, and I'm super happy about that. Now, you saw the word crash at the bottom of the screen? That's because a nasty crash happens on this lap, and we'll just have to wait and see where it happens. Yeah. So yeah, I got lots of European driving in, learned so much, and driving at higher speeds within a bus. That's kind of crazy. You ready? Big crashing sound. And yeah, I had the crashing glass because I'm toast. I'm just toast. So let's check it out here. I'm going to take a little look, and I'm going to show you where you see the damage. You see those little cracks? Okay, now I have a slower and looser car. 2 cracks, that's max damage. Now here's what I need to do immediately. I adjust my braking points. So I'm actually going to brake later because this car has ridiculous brakes. So I'm braking later because I've lost speed. The first Mulsanne chicane, I'm normally hitting it at 436 kilometers an hour. After max damage, I think I peak out around 419. We'll have to watch and see. But I definitely peak out. I mean, I just hit maximum speed a lot earlier. Same with this. At the end of this, by the time I'm getting on the brakes, I'd normally be about 424. And I think, well, let's just watch. What do I get to here? 407, 12. Oh. 417? Maybe I just have stage 1 damage. That's surprising. We'll see what happens at the first Mulsanne chicane. Earlier in my driving abilities, I'd maxed out at about 415 with maximum damage at the first Mulsanne chicane, but then I got better. I backed up some of my braking points, I improved my driving, and my lap times are faster. Ooh, this is getting dicey. Come on, I need to get this guy. Let's get out of my way, man. I probably just did more damage. I probably just got maximum damage. But it was either that or lose the race, right? And I'm blasting the chicane now. It's like, oh, get out of my way. I don't really care. Cool thing about getting max damage, who cares? Hit whoever you want, doesn't matter. Okay, so back to Le Mans. So I've been to this track, and there's a really cool, kind of like a museum there with some awesome cars and motorbikes and all sorts of cool stuff. I got some stuff from the gift store. I actually got a Nissan Nismo LMP1, like a super miniature one. And pretty cool place. While we were there, there was motorbike races going on. That was pretty cool to hear. And just being on some of those roads, knowing that, okay, cars have done upwards of 400 kilometers an hour on these roads. Like, it's just like, wow, this is legendary. So that was really cool. I really liked having my time in France. And it's very interesting being a Canadian in France. The French people remember what Canada did for France in World War I. And I was shocked. I mean, it was 100 years ago that this war, and we were at a hotel, and people would not let us carry our own luggage. They insisted to carry our luggage, and they were crying as they thanked Canada for what they did for their grandparents and great-grandparents. So that's pretty cool. I enjoyed myself there. Anyhow, kind of race-related, kind of not. Definitely had some fun on some of the roads, even though, I mean, on the first trip, I was more nervous. Second trip, I'm in a bus. It's like, maybe I need a third trip in a sports car, but pretty cool. Very different than driving in Canada, where we do have mountains in part of Canada. We got like everything in Canada, but where I'm in the prairie areas of Canada, where there's a joke that you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. So yeah, it's one of the jokes on the prairies, because it's like really, really flat for big areas because we were covered by glaciers. But don't get me wrong, we got foothills, we got sand dunes, we've got thousands of lakes, and just there's lots of stuff here. But downside is we get minus 40 in the winters and plus 40 in the summers. Or if you're in Fahrenheit, well, it's still minus 40, but then it's plus like 100, 102. But we don't get very much of that, like just a little bit. Anyhow, actually, you know what? I've got a video where I went out driving when it was minus 40 with the wind in my Audi. And I'll put a link to it up here if you want to check it out. It's kind of fun. I did some donuts, did some drifting, and got into some trouble. And so it's one of the videos where you actually see me, sort of. But you'll have to check the video to see what I mean by that. Okay, back to the racing. So you can see this is doable. This will be, let's watch this speed. So I used to tell people 415 was the max. That's not true. But I'd be hitting 415 a little while ago already in an undamaged car. And here I just hit it now for 18,920. Really? 21, 22. That's not bad, hey? It just takes longer to get there though. So because it takes longer to get there and these straights are so long, you are definitely losing. So this does put the fire under me a little bit. Got to be more focused. Got to be aggressive, but not. You just got to be careful. So there, I mean, going off track there, I don't want to do that because that killed my drive out of the corner. But what am I looking at here? My timer. My timer's pretty healthy. I only need to pass one more car to be able to finish this lap. So I'm in a really good place on this particular lap. I might not get anyone here. Let's see. I mean, I could if I wanted to get a little bit. Oh, nice. I was going to give him the pit maneuver, but I had some nice momentum. Huh. That's pretty sweet. And of course, I'm going to get probably one more car at the second 90-degree turn. Let's just see here. Well, I shouldn't catch anyone here. But I think I'll take the cuts. Yeah. 2. Nice. And look at that. You start to really, what I love about endurance races is you start to see how far you can actually push it. Because you think you're pushing a car until you go in an endurance race, and then it's so easy to see because, well, the distance marker turns red and stops counting. So then you actually know you're off track. I've often used endurance races to find the limits for time trials. Because in a time trial, you go off track, you get the you failed banner, and then that's it. You don't get it again unless it's a weekly time trial. So it kind of sucks. So I like using endurance races for that. Okay, so here we're doing a timed lap with maximum damage. And we'll see what that's like, and we'll see how sloppy I am. I don't think I make a mistake on this same corner coming up, but boy, right there. I pulled it to the right of the Dunlop Bridge. If I clip a car there, forget about it. I nail the Dunlop Bridge, and I can't recover. That was nice. That was a nice entrance onto Mulsanne straight. Come on, got him! Bing, bing, bing. Okay, so this will be a decent time lap, but what do you figure? What do you think? Am I going to be 2 seconds slower? Or 3 seconds slower? Like, already I've been driving a little bit of a cleaner lap. Well, that's pretty sweet right there. That's nice. That always gets me a little bit nervous. I try not to think about it too much, but I got a bot on the left and a wall on the right, and it feels like I only have one spare car width to deal with. Which sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot when you're going this fast. And if you make a mistake, you're probably going to lose the race. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm okay with that. I just felt like I could have done a little bit better with that chicane. But honestly, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. In my opinion, the best way to drive endurance races is to be just a pinch conservative. Okay? So you never really want to be overdriving it because the consequences can be pretty dire. You drive too deep into a corner, you risk crashing into a bot or go flying off track and lose the train of bots. Now, you can recatch them because they're still there. But if you're being just a tiny bit conservative, then you're going to drive out of the corner. You can drive out of the corner better. And yeah, you might be giving up maybe a 10th per corner, which actually is a lot. I decided to take him out on purpose. That way I just didn't have anything to worry about timing-wise. But if you're giving up a 10th per corner on a track like Le Mans, then yeah, you could be giving up like 1.5 seconds per lap. But that's not all that bad. Like, in an endurance race, that's not a big deal. In a time trial, yeah, that's going to mean Group C a lot of the time. So, yeah, you can't do that. But, well, it's not. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. Whatever. There we go. Well, really about 3 seconds shorter, so not too bad, honestly. But, of course, that's going to affect my fame per minute, right? Ooh, again! You see what I mean? You see how that's my area? You might be saying, well, skip the first cut. I don't think that works. I think you need that first cut to keep this going, in my opinion. But it's just a matter of, I try to stay on the throttle through that whole thing, and I get a little bit stubborn. So there's times I should be lifting for just a quarter second, and I don't want to. Believe it or not, that might sound ridiculous, but a quarter second lift can be the difference between losing the whole race or not. So you got to be willing to do that. 2 cars in the first chicane, pretty sweet. At this point, I only expect to get 1 car at the second chicane, but let's just see what happens at the second chicane. Not a chicken, a chicane. Sorry. You cut the chicken! No, I didn't cut no chicken. Let's see what I get here. If I get one easily. Very nice. I'm proud of how I took that. Well, sorry, it might sound funny, but I wrestled so long with that I'm so happy with myself when I do well. And this corner as well. I used to cut it so much, and it's actually better often. Like, you see the risk right there? If I mistimed that by a bit, I was only half a car length away from getting nailed. There was a point where we had nitro bots. Do you remember that? I called them nitro bots. What it meant was when you passed a bot, he got a nitro boost. And in these cars, it was intense. So if I would have done that in nitro bot days, forget it. He would have nailed me because he would have hit nitro. And there's 5 seconds for an MP4-X to disappear, which is an incredibly long time when he gets to go like 470 and I'm only going 430. It's annoying. In case you don't know this, after the Perpetual Point, every single bot you face is more powerful than a fully upgraded car. And you might say that's unfair, and it kind of is. But they can easily do that. They've done that before. They can just change the stats. And so the only thing you really see it is in their acceleration rate and a little bit on their top speed. But even if you have no damage at all, and you come out of a corner nice and clean, you can be gaining on a bot, and suddenly that bot just starts pulling away and pulling away and pulling away. But they suck at corners because bots are driving with assists on. By the way, have you ever thought about this? How come when we have steering assist low, we're flying off the track a lot of the time? Sorry, brake assist low. Brake assist high, substantially over brakes. Brake assist low, substantially under brakes. But look at all these bots that drive insane. Obviously, there's other assist settings that we don't have access to. And why are they doing that? Well, they want you to upgrade your car more. They want you to spend currency. And they encourage you a lot to drive with no assists. Because then the bots are at the mercy of you. As you can see, these bots are at the mercy of my ability. 165 of them so far have had to fall to my driving suave. Is that even a word? I'm not even sure what I just said there, guys. Got a little bit lost in what I was trying to do. Forgive me. Hey, are you too? Sweet. Sometimes you smack a bot and they get on the brakes. And I don't care right now. I can smack people and it doesn't hurt me. The risk is I could crash, but I'm pretty good at smacking people without crashing. Side smacks like that can be pretty... Oh gosh, that was pretty touchy, wasn't it? But at this point, I'm already good for the whole lap. I don't have to pass anyone else, but I will. I'm passing as many as I can and trying to keep my laps fast to keep the bots as closely grouped as possible. Again, that's just the way the algorithm seems to work. Now, there's an interesting glitch. Silverstone Bridge Circuit 2009. When taking both cuts, you can get your lap times faster than the game expects. And what happens is the game forgets where you are. And you can find the point of bot creation, which I very recently did again. I've done this lots. been happening for years. But the interesting thing is, you can have bots suddenly appearing right in front of you, and eventually you can have it where there's no bots appearing in front of you because they're actually behind you. And the only way to keep that endurance race going is to get on the brakes for a while, let the bots overtake you, and then pass them back and make them disappear again. It's really crazy. So on some tracks, if you run too fast of laps back to back, you actually end up in trouble. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Now, pretty good again. Oh, now this is weird. Two bots side by side. So we're seeing some of the weirdness that can happen when you're running pretty fast, consistent laps. The bots get a little bit stacked up. Now those two side by side means a gap. Right, look at the gap there. So will I catch two at the chicane? Not likely. Possible though. Then again, the bots are horrible at overbraking. And what speeds am I hitting? 420, 21. Still could have hit that 22, I think. Yep, definitely just going to catch one. But I might catch two at the next chicane. Just maybe. I tell you, if I was on these country roads, which I didn't get to drive on, well, I mean, they're kind of highways, they're not country roads, but I'd have a really hard time not just pinning the throttle and going as fast as I absolutely could, just because of everything that's happened on these streets. But pretty sure that would land me in some trouble. Yeah, I'd love to get to the Autobahn sometimes, and I don't know. I'm sure you can rent exotic cars, but the insurance costs scare me, and wrecking the car scares me. I've been over 200 kilometers an hour, but not much more, like maybe 205. That's about the most I've ever done, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot. You got to be paying attention. At that speed, if you hit a sizable bump in the road or you're not prepared for a corner, you can get in trouble. But I'd love to be getting over 300, 400. But at that point, you got to be on some pretty careful tracks. Like Volkswagen has a 60-mile long track, I believe. Pretty sure. Perfectly matched to the curvature of the Earth. Yes, I did just say that, because that's what they did to build that track. I'll leave it there. But that's where they did some famous Bugatti tests, because of course Volkswagen owns Bugatti. So they did a pretty famous test there with that car, maxing it out, and driving at speeds that would melt the tires and all that crazy stuff. But to get that car to max speed, pretty cool. I'd love to be on something like that. Oh well. Oh, that's a lot of cars. Oh, there we go. See what I mean? That's my trouble spot. I gotta do better than that, man. I'm risking the whole race when I do that. Okay, what do we got here? 80 seconds. I'm not going to catch this guy till the chicane. I might still catch two at the chicane. They overbrake so bad. Like, there's no reason to brake when you're getting onto the Mulsanne straight, but they do. And that's why I gain on them, but then they pull away. I should get two. If I do this the right way, I should get two. Beautiful. I love that. That's beautiful. 75 seconds. I'll easily get one at the next chicane. And I don't think I'll get two, but sometimes what happens is the bots sometimes are getting stacked up in front of you, but it's too far away to see. And then you make a big mistake at a corner. Oh gosh, that was close. That's pretty good. Okay, so I have the option. This time around, if I took this corner clean, I think I'd still get this guy. Sometimes I play it by ear. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do till I'm on the brakes. So that time, that was too close. I was too close to him to take the cut. But then I was braking. Oh gosh. Anyhow, I survived, right? I survived. So that's just what matters. 45 seconds. I'd like one bot right away. I'd feel better. I don't think I'm going to get one, am I? Oh, gosh. Walkie-talkie. See, at this point, I don't have to care about side damage. I did, as I headed into that cut, I decided that if I drive it a little bit too aggressively, I can smack into that bot. The risk is, if I hit him a little bit further back, he would have spun me out and I would have really been in trouble. But at this point, you got to start taking some risks or you just can't keep it going. Like, look, I'm down to 17 seconds, but I can easily get this guy. Ooh, boy. I really sliced through that chicane. Okay, well, hey, getting close to 200 bots right away. Could happen right at this one corner, depending on the grouping. Doom, doom, doom. Woo, woo, woo. Look at that. 200 bots. That's a lot of bots. What was your money on? Not that we were taking bets or anything, but I was kind of saying in that teaser video, what do you think? How many bots am I going to hit? And what distance will I hit? And I mean, it's totally, how could you know? It's not like, I don't know. It's just a fun little thing. And of course, you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, 2 here? Oh yeah, sweet. Oh, look at that. That's a nice set of bots up there. I might get 2 at this chicane. So this is just it. You know, we're 40 minutes into this race, and this is intense racing, and I start to feel fatigued. And it just starts to get, it's stressful. And probably what I should do to hit 1,000 kilometers is I should probably take a break. Every 200 kilometers, take like a 10-15 minute break, get up, walk around for a while. When I did 600 laps at Porsche Test Track and the Ferrari FXXK, which was, I want to say about 1,089 kilometers, 1,080 something, I actually took quite a few breaks. And that's a really easy endurance race, one of the easiest ones there is. You could have massive crashes very regularly and keep the race going. But I start to get super sloppy, and then I'm giving up a lot of fame per minute. And so I just like to take breaks. Also, that race, you're on the brakes a lot more. Oh, tag, I'm it. Well, that's surprising, 61 seconds at a point. That's pretty surprising for being this deep into the race. So you can see that if you just keep running consistently, just don't make major mistakes, which is honestly, once you get good at this race, it's not that hard to avoid major mistakes. You want to know what really drives me crazy? Is when people say, I'm hacking. I hate that. I really hate that, because I'm a clean racer. I know hackers, and I see what they do, and I don't like it. And I'm just saying that I don't like it. Hacking ruins this for everybody. I don't like it. That's why we don't have team competitions anymore, is because of hackers. But I really hate it when I am an honest racer and people accuse me of hacking. And there's a rule on YouTube that you don't feed the trolls. I have a hard time with that because I believe people can change. And I've seen trolls change their ways. I do that because I once believed that piles of people were hacking this game. And yes, people hack this game, but I used to think it was like thousands and thousands of people, that everyone who was in Group A and in Group B, they had to be hacking because they're better than me and I'm so good. And then I found out I suck. No, I shouldn't say that. It's not that I didn't suck. I mean, I was top 5%, but I just didn't realize how much better I could be. So it's frustrating when people accuse me of hacking and they have no evidence at all. Oh, well, the screen looks a little bit funny. Really? Well, it's a video, guys. Like, yeah, I'm on an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I mean, it's the best iPhone you can get right now. And still people say, oh, well, the video doesn't look right, or look how fast he took that corner. Well, so could you. So the fact is, once you get really good at this game, only then do you realize who's hacking and who's not. Most hackers aren't really that good. Like, they're good, but they're not great, was what I've noticed. You watch some weekly time trial videos, and it's like, oh, why is the guy braking at that point? Or why is he taking that line into the corner? Oh, because he's just not good. Because he's relying on hacked stats, right? And why? Why? I've never understood that. If you've already hacked the game, why are you in a time trial competition? What's the point? Why are you it's just so frustrating. I really don't like it because it wrecks the game for everybody, but blah, 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 blah. That's my beef. You know what, guys? I understand that people say, well, it's too hard to get ahead in the game and everything's so expensive and all this stuff, and I hear you. I get it. I've played for a lot of years. I'm like 7 and some years into this game. I started February of 2015, and it's currently June of 2022. So yeah, like getting close to 7.5 years of me playing this game. And that's why I've got massive amount of currency. What you might not know is that at a certain point, I had to give up earning certain cars and completing certain series because my gold was getting low. This is exactly what I said, right? Exactly what I said. I should have got off the throttle sooner. I shouldn't have pushed it so much. There was a massive group of bots. I should have recognized I was in a dangerous area of getting the pit maneuver done on me because I'm rejoining traffic at the wrong time. Okay, we're at 226. You're going to see exactly everything I feared. I'm still going to try. I'm going to try because you never know. Maybe there's a mistake up ahead. Although you don't see bots crashing too much at Le Mans. I do see it, especially in these cars. But that's more so when I've had no damage and running back-to-back fast laps and they get really tightly grouped. This might be it, guys. Well, I'll finish the one thought. I realized at a certain point with the exclusive series and all this stuff that there's just no way I could keep up because I don't have enough time to do all this stuff, and so I'm racing more the way I want to race. I love special events, recommended PR events, always do those. I love endurance races, I do those, and I do what I want to do. And that made this game a lot more fun. Oh look, I caught back up again. Okay, got him. 25 seconds. The only way this is going to work is if there's a really big gaggle of bots because of something. If one of them is going to need to make a mistake. That's the only way I'm going to keep going a really long way here. Oh gosh, what do I do? No gaggle. But that... You know what? I still have a chance. Although, at this point, I'm pretty sure I need an accident to happen in front of me, and that's really rare in the MP4-X. I've seen it happen, but usually when that happens, it's more around the Dunlop bridge that they have accidents, just like me. Maybe it's cursed. Okay, we're calling it 231 overtakes. Closest guess was Irish Andy. He guessed 228 overtakes. Good guessing there. Then, for total distance, Paul S. guessed 162 miles. That converts to 260.71 kilometers. Definitely the closest guess. And good job, guys. It was totally random. No way we could have made a reasonable guess. So, good job. Random guessing, guys. So let's get to the profitability. I've done it before. It's not going to change that much, but fame per minute with agent and 100% bonus fame would be 7680. Base earnings are 1920. R per minute with manager, 26064, base earnings 13032. I removed the friends bonus so you get the actual amount. So thanks for joining me, guys. Please like and subscribe and check out some other videos.